The board will now reconvene to regular session at 6:02. I would like to invite the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Dr. Ed Atkinson, to lead us in the flag salute.
Thank you, Dr. Jang. Please rise and join me in the pledge to our flag. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move on to disclosures of reportable actions taken in the closed session. Board members met in closed session to discuss the following items. Student expulsions, deliberation of findings and recommendations for confidential pupil expulsion reports 2024-2025, number 5 and number 6. Public employee discipline, dismissal and release, confidential pupil matters and student discipline, and conference with legal counsel for anticipated legal litigation, and 5.4.1, significant exposures to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 of the subdivision of section 54956.9, one case, and board members discuss student expulsions, deliberations, findings, and recommendations for confidential pupil expulsions report 2024-2025, number 5. Is there a motion to approve the student expulsion deliberation for the 2024-25, number 5? Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 5-0. Is there a motion to approve student expulsion deliberation on 2024-2025, number 6?
I move.
Is there a second? Any discussions? Seeing none, would you call for a vote? Oh, did you? Oh, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 5-0. And we're going to move on to approval of minutes, and we have a public comment card on the approval of minutes. Mr. Cardenas.
President Jang, Superintendent McLaughlin, members of the board, attached to my comment card is a summary of my comments on the agenda from last month's meeting. Seems like you guys kind of went backwards. There's a little less detail in the agenda minutes. But anyway, I emailed that already. It's a summary of my comments, and that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the November 12th, 2024 board meeting? Any discussions? Seeing none. Noel, would you like to cast a preferential vote?
I approve.
And would you call for a vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 5-0. And we'll move on to acknowledgement of correspondence to the board. Do board members have any correspondence they would like to share? Seeing none, I would like to invite Noelle to give her student board member report.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. McLaughlin, President Jang, members of the board, and distinguished guests. This will be my student board member report for the month of December. Before I begin about our student activities across our 7 campuses, I want to thank the board for sending me to the California School Board Association's annual education conference. I was able to learn about the importance of devoting yourself to your community and standing up for your goals and ambitions, along with over 150 other student board members across California. The second day of the conference was at Disneyland, where I experienced the Imagination Studios program and got to spend a fun afternoon in the park with my fellow student board members. Now for our campus reports. As we close out the fall season and approach the holidays, our ASBs are working hard to get their student bodies in the festive spirit with both Thanksgiving and Christmas activities. Buena Park has been busy holding their second food fest of the year on November 15th, a successful event where nearly all of their clubs sold out and reached their profit goals. Their ASB and Link crew hosted freshman preview days this past November, where 8th graders from Nicholas, Beatty, Buena Park, and Parks Junior Highs visited their campus, listened to student panels, and toured their programs such as dance, robotics, auto body, and more. Sonora's ASB has been others-focused this month, giving back to their student bodies through Thanksgiving giveaways and activities that included passing out hot cocoa, watching movies, and turkey hunts to win prizes. Sonora was also excited to announce the theme for their 2025 Frosted Formal, hosted on January 18th. Additionally, Sonora is holding a holiday spirit week with gingerbread cookie decorating, dress-up days, and more holiday fun. Fullerton has had a great month of November and beginning of December. The week before fall break, Fullerton ASB hosted a Spirit Week, which included fall-themed dress-up days such as Flannel Day and Fuzzy Sock Day. Fullerton hosted their annual Pumpkin Bowl, where staff and students had an amazing time bowling with pumpkins. Fullerton is celebrating the holiday season with a festive Spirit Week filled with activities such as gingerbread making contests and passing out candy canes to their student body. Troy's ASB has been busy hosting a 2-week event, Warrior Idol, a play on the popular TV show American Idol. Their ASB classes held fundraisers such as Dunk a Freshman and Pie a Junior, and a donut giveaway for seniors to celebrate the UC and CSU college application deadlines. Troy ASB created a thankfulness tree in their quad where students and staff could write out what they were grateful for. They are excited to celebrate the holiday season with festive door decorating contests and a toy drive donations to local elementary schools. La Vista La Sierra has been busy giving back to the community during the Thanksgiving season with a school-wide food drive, collaborating with Nexus of Hope to create and hand out Thanksgiving dinner baskets. La Vista encouraged thankfulness around the campus by creating a gratitude tree for their students to decorate with encouragement. Their ASB celebrated Mental Health Awareness Month with interactive photo ops and also celebrated Native American Heritage Month with activities and contests that honored Native American culture. La Habra celebrated World Kindness Day with posters around their school and left encouraging notes on cars parked in their student and staff lots. La Habra had a successful 8th grade Invasion Day where Washington, Imperial, and Rancho Middle Schools experienced a mini assembly, a mini club rush, learned about their programs, and toured their campus. Additionally, La Habra is holding a Spirit Week to get their students in the holiday spirit and will have photo ops with Santa Claus and a surprise guest, the Grinch. Sunny Hills has been excited to recently watch amazing performances from their girls water polo team and their girls varsity tennis team, who became league champions this season. Sunny Hills arts programs have been busy with a winter choir concert, their theater program's annual 12 acts of Christmas show, and their dance production's fall show, Dancing with the Staff, this Thursday and Friday. Sunny Hills hosted a Christmas movie night watching Home Alone and is excited for their upcoming holiday Spirit Week and winter assembly to get their students in the festive spirit. Thank you, and this concludes my board report for the month of December. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Okay, thank you, Noel. I would like to call on the superintendent to introduce the principals to give their reports.
Thank you, Dr. Jang, members of the board. Really exciting times. I appreciate the holiday good wishes, and we didn't see you there, but in spirit, we're learning with you. So I'm glad you had a good time. Starting off, let's go to Mr. Weinrich. Let's start at the end of the table today. Sunny Hills High School.
Thank you, Dr. McLaughlin. Good evening, President Jang, members of the board. Over the past couple of weeks, the Lancers have seen their fall sports seasons wrap up and our student athletes head into the winter competition season. For the fall, the Lancers saw huge success as our girls varsity tennis won back-to-back league titles and finished with a 13-3 record. Varsity, led by Daniela Buriel, Maya Orton, Hannah Saab, and Karina Saab, competed in the Division II CIF finals, where they advanced all the way to the quarterfinals. Our JV girls tennis team also won a league championship by going undefeated in league play and 12-1 overall. The Lancer girls golf team placed 10th in the CIF Division II team championships, with freshman Nana Kim having a low score for the team, while sophomore Jamin Nan advanced to the CIF individual championships. In cross country, Mia Gonzalez and Charlie Munoz both earned opportunities to advance to CIF as well. And lastly, we're very proud that our flag football head coach Dylan Kuhn and volleyball head coach Amanda Donaldson were both selected to be part of the coaching staffs for their respective all-star teams this past month. What an honor. As winter sports teams began their seasons, our girls basketball season started hot with 6 wins early on, both varsity and JV making it to the finals of their opening week tournaments, and the Frosh Soft team winning back-to-back tournaments, and it is now 8-0. Varsity's been led by junior Kayla Ma, sophomore Rihanna Jones, and freshman Allie Sexton, who are all averaging over 9 points a game. Meanwhile, our boys varsity basketball successfully hosted the 7th annual Rumble on the Hill tournament, the largest tournament in Orange County. Senior Brian Watkins currently leads the Lancers with 14 points and 9 rebounds a game. And then girls water polo, who is looking to build off their success from last year, made it to the championship game of the Garden Grove tournament and is off to a 4-1 start. Finally, girls soccer under new head coach Willie Allgaier has also had a great start to the season at 4-0-1. And all in all, it looks to be another competitive season of athletics for the Lancers as the winter progresses. On the artistic side, COFA, our Conservatory of Fine Arts, welcomed winter with a series of events. This included the Lancer Theater Company's annual 12 Acts of Christmas, which consisted of 12 fun acts that were written and directed by our amazing students, and may have even starred myself in one of the acts. Choir also held their Sound of the Seasons concert and performed today at John Wayne Airport for holiday travelers. This week, as Noelle mentioned, we'll also see our Dancing with the Staff annual competition on Thursday and Friday, and we hope to see you out there, followed up by our instrumental music concert on Saturday for their winter concert. Finally, a huge congratulations goes out to Whitney Stanton and our entire Lancer Regiment for making it to the band championships right before Thanksgiving break. It was a great way to cap off another amazing competition season for the marching band and our color guard students. Lastly, the entire Lancer family would like to wish everyone a happy holiday season ahead and plenty of rest for all of our students, teachers, and staff. Thank you, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Weinrich. Are you dancing this year? Not this year, okay. From Troy High School, Dr. Minster.
Thank you, Dr. McLaughlin, President Jang, and members of the board. 1 week and a half to go in the fall semester, and our students and teachers are busy putting the final touches on the end of the fall semester. Our Thanksgiving vacation was a welcome time out to rest and relax, or even just have a change of pace with family and friends. But during Thanksgiving vacation, our NJRTC, winter sports, and band and guard were all in action. On the first Saturday of Thanksgiving break, our Warrior Band and Guard marched in the Arcadia Festival of Bands. This parade is a big deal and is observed by the Rose Parade officials each year. Our Warriors looked and sounded great. If we keep doing what we're doing, we may someday earn a place in the Rose Parade. Also, congratulations to our band director, Mr. Castillo, for being recognized as a nominee for the 2025 Orange County Music and Arts Educators Awards. The Troy Choir earned an invitation to be part of the Candlelight Disneyland holiday concert held last weekend. There were only 2 high schools from Orange County, and the other 6 choirs were adult church and seasoned performance choirs. Our choir is that good and has earned this opportunity. There were 4 45-minute performances, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. This concert was one of the best concert events I've ever attended. It was truly fantastic. Another wonderful event for the holiday season will be our Holiday Special Education and Theater Arts Collaboration Show held tomorrow. This is always a fun and festive holiday show and a wonderful event for all our students as they get to be truly immersed in the fun of the season. Additionally, our ASB is driving the festivities with door decorating contests, toy drive donations for local students, holiday-themed attire spirit days, ultimately all culminating in the legendary or infamous Elf Dance, which will be held this Friday. I cannot wait, and I hear that Santa may once again make an appearance. Also on Friday, if you're looking for more holiday music, our instrumental music will have their 13 Days of Christmas in the North Gym at 7 p.m. Final exams start on December 16th. Our students will be ready. Thank you, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Minster. From La Vista La Sierra Schools, Mrs. Leona.
Thank you, Dr. McLaughlin, President Jang, members of the board. It's been a great month for the Lions, culminating with the 5-day La Vista La Sierra Fall STEAM event last week. Highlights included the final of 5 workshops with our Fullerton Library community partner who hosted a Christmas candy tower building contest. Also, we had a STEAM showcase featuring student projects from each department and painting, drawing, mixed media design, and sculpture from the adult transition students. There was also a STEAM Lego car creation and race and a robotic butterfly competition between both the adult transition hubs and the academy classrooms. Finally, we held a STEAM awards ceremony at the end of the week, complete with certificates and with medals. We are grateful to the STEAM committee, which is made up of teachers from La Vista and the La Sierra Opportunity and Adult Transition programs, for the work that they did all semester to make this such a successful event. In other news, La Vista La Sierra video production teacher Joey Flores was named the 2025 North Orange County Regional Occupational Program ROP Teacher of the Year. He was selected for exemplifying the organization's core values and commitment to providing remarkable CTE learning experiences for students. Mr. Flores has transformed the video production program at La Vista La Sierra. Students are drawn to the work-based learning that he provides. They also produce our weekly Lions Roar telecast and participate in live streaming opportunities on campus, at district sporting and VAPA events, and at our monthly board meetings. We are grateful to have a teacher of his caliber in the Pride. Congratulations, Mr. Flores. Thank you, and that concludes the La Vista La Sierra report. Happy holidays.
Thanks, Mrs. Leona. From La Habra High School, Mr. Garcia.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. McLaughlin, President Jang, members of the board. Our High Arts Academy has been buzzing with creativity and talent these past few weeks. The La Habra Marching Band and Color Guard, led by Mr. Whiteman, performed their show Imagine and impressed at the California State Band Championships at Huntington Beach. They've earned 6th place in the entire state, and that's twice in the last 3 years they finished in the top 10. Our theater production of Clue left us guessing and laughing with their stellar performances. To everyone who attended, you are all officially suspects in making it a fantastic 3-night run. Last week, our choir delivered holiday harmonies, bringing seasonal cheer that even melted the Grinch's icy heart. And this week, don't miss out the visual arts exhibit and our winter band concert on Thursday the 12th. And then on Friday and Saturday, be prepared to be inspired by our dance students with their captivating shows of It's Time to Dance. We're also thrilled to welcome our feeder schools to join the festivities. They are like our extended family, only with better snacks. Speaking of feeder schools, we hosted our 8th grade students from Rancho Starbuck, Washington Imperial. Their visit offered a sneak peek at life as Highlanders, complete with spirit and community. We followed that with an informational 8th grade night at the La Habra Community Center. Special thanks to Washington Middle School and Imperial Middle School for being great partners in this endeavor. The winter sports season has begun, and all our teams are doing well. Our boys basketball team is currently ranked number 5 in Orange County and number 13 in Southern California by the LA Times. With preseason wrapping up, we're ready to make our mark in the Crestview Conference. Cheer and song teams are racking up multiple 1st and 2nd place finishes against some of California's best squads. With competition season in full swing, both programs are making a run at state and national recognition. Fall sports wrapped up with incredible seasons as all our programs made the playoffs, but a special shout out to football, girls volleyball, and girls tennis for advancing to the quarterfinals. Highlanders have also proven that they're as kind-hearted as they are talented. This holiday season, FCA, NHS, ASB, and baseball have supported our community by organizing clothing drives and collecting gifts for those in need. FCA and NHS have led the effort to pack over 100 holiday gift boxes for needy children through Operation Christmas Child. From heartfelt notes to carefully wrapped presents, their generosity is lighting up lives across the globe. And our baseball program once again led the charge at the annual La Habra Tamale Festival, providing that they are MVPs on and off the field. As finals week approaches, our students and staff are focused on the home stretch, and after that, a well-deserved winter break awaits filled with family and friends. From all of us at La Habra High School, we wish all of you a joyful holiday season and a restful new year. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. From Sonora High School, Mr. Cazares.
Thank you, Dr. McLaughlin, President Jang, members of the board. As we prepare to close the fall semester, I'm pleased to share how our school community has demonstrated tremendous resilience, dedication, and compassion as we continue to strive for excellence in academics, athletics, and community engagement. The holiday season brings opportunities to reflect on the importance of community. Our annual food drive, our beloved tradition for over 40 years, has successfully provided support for nearly 100 families in our local area last weekend. What makes this initiative special is the way it brings together students, staff, and families to work toward a shared goal. It's amazing to see students take ownership of the process, demonstrating leadership, organization, and empathy in their efforts to make a difference. I want to extend my gratitude to everyone who contributed, whether through donations, time, or energy, to ensure that the success of this impactful event. Last week, we also celebrated 2 amazing students who have been recognized and rewarded for their academic excellence. Michelle Kim and Jonathan Gallegos were selected as Questbridge Match Scholarship recipients, earning full scholarships to prestigious universities. Michelle from Duke University and Jonathan, who is the 3rd Questbridge recipient in his family, received a full-ride scholarship to Yale University. These achievements are a testament not only to their hard work and determination, but also to the dedication of our teachers and counselors who have supported and guided them in their academic journeys. This fall, we have focused on connecting with future Raiders through a series of engaging events and outreach initiatives. Our partnership with the La Habra City School District led to a successful parent night where we shared the stage with our neighbors at La Habra High School, where families were introduced to many programs and pathways available at both high schools. This event highlighted the opportunities students can explore in academics, athletics, and extracurricular activities, providing families with a comprehensive understanding of the Raider experience. Last night, we welcomed over 50 families to campus for Future Raider Night, an event designed to give prospective students a glimpse of high school life. Families enjoyed a campus tour led by our outstanding student leaders who shared their personal experiences and offered insight into what makes Sonora such a special place. The evening also included free pizza and excitement of attending a home basketball game. One of our most exciting developments this year has been the successful launch of our Dual Language Academy, which continues to thrive under the leadership of Ms. Laura Ramirez. Tomorrow night, we will host a dual language parent night in partnership with La Habra City School District and Washington Middle School. This event aims to answer questions from prospective parents and students as they consider continuing their bilingual education at Sonora. All of our winter athletics teams are up and going with a successful start to the season. The highlight is our girls basketball team that has started the season 6-0, including a tournament championship at the Wilson Wildcat Classic. As the semester concludes, I share my gratitude for the Sonora High School community. From the generosity shown in our surrounding community to the commitment demonstrated in the classroom and in athletic competitions, it is clear that we are a school defined by commitment, connection, and shared vision of success. I want to thank our staff, families, and students for their support and partnership in making Sonora High School a place where every student can belong, and we wish everyone a safe and restful holiday season. Thank you, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Cazares. From Boynton Park High School, Dr. Berg.
Thank you, Dr. McLaughlin, President Jang, and members of the board. I hope you all had a nice Thanksgiving break. It is great to be back. We have a ton to be thankful for at the park, especially my staff and students. They have worked incredibly hard this semester throughout their various organizations and in the classrooms. I'd like to give a big shout out tonight to our performing arts. They are finishing up their holiday performances this week with band, orchestra, and choir putting on amazing showcases last week. Special recognition to sophomore Alyssa Michael, who was selected as one of only 4 vocalists from throughout Orange County to participate in the 2nd annual Candlelight Masterclass sponsored by Segerstrom's Center for the Arts. Over 50 students auditioned for this amazing opportunity, and for the 2nd year in a row, Buena Park High School was represented. Ms. DeWeese was able to bring 3 students to attend the master classes that featured Broadway stars Adam Pascal from Ada and Rent and Christopher Jackson from Hamilton and The Lion King. Alyssa's performance was beautiful, and both clinicians were very impressed with her mature sound. The feedback provided to all 4 of our vocalists was invaluable to them as singers, and both to them as singers and in their performing. Huge congratulations to them. Our dance program rounds out the season, doing a 2-night show this Thursday and Friday with special guest stars, our very own staff. There will be a bunch of cameos. You don't want to miss it unless it's already sold out, so you have to go online and check. It's in my newsletter. Our dancers will remain busy, however, with many of them also on song and cheer, so big shout out to them. Just a few weeks ago, they won their entire division at the latest Sharp International competition, so hopefully this is a good sign to come as they enter the January competition season and CIF. Our winter sports teams have all kicked off their seasons and are performing at very high levels, especially our girls basketball, girls water polo, boys soccer, and both of our wrestling programs. Speaking of which, big shout out to freshman Isabella Ung, who placed 8th in the state in her weight class, and along with 3 other female wrestlers, they competed throughout the entire Walnut International, which is a really high level tournament, and that was just this past weekend. And lastly, hot off the presses, we received some amazing news that we got not 1, not 2, but 3 Questbridge scholarship matches. That means out of the 5 finalists that we had, which is incredible in and of itself, 3 of them were matched with full ride scholarships. Congratulations to Leslie Diaz for Yale University and 2 Stanford University matches, her twin sister, Ashley Diaz, and Jackie Orozco. So I bet those parents are super happy. We're so proud of their accomplishments, and I know our staff was just giddy when we got that announcement because they had a big hand in their development over the last 4 years. So happy holidays, and thank you. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Berg. From Fullerton High School, Mr. Caffrey.
Thank you, Dr. McLaughlin. Good evening, President Jang and members of the board. It's a wonderful time of year at Fullerton Union High School. Our choral department is once again hosting its annual singing telegrams, and there's truly nothing better than receiving a personal singing telegram from our talented students. For those looking to get into the holiday spirit, we invite you to our winter choral concert this Thursday night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., and we hope to see you there. Today we welcomed 8th grade students from Nicholas Junior High. Our ASB team did a fantastic job preparing a pep assembly, campus tour, and a program fair for future students to learn about the great programs at Fullerton Union High School. Next week we welcome 8th grade students from Ladera Vista and Beechwood. Fullerton's mock trial team attended their first competition and came out with a first place win. We are excited for our team and our advisor, Mrs. Chavez. Speech and debate competed in the La Costa Winter Classic December 8th and 9th. Out in Carlsbad, our team did an amazing job. Out of the 11 entries we had, 9 advanced to elimination rounds, and 5 of those made it to the finals. We are extremely proud of our speech and debate team. Our theater program just finished Stories from Orangethorpe, where our Theater 2 and 3 class take stories written by students from Orangethorpe Elementary and turn them into mini plays. Our students went to Orangethorpe to perform and held an evening performance at FUHS. It's always such a fun event, bringing our community together. This weekend, we have the opportunity to showcase our school and district at the CIF State Championship Games. We have 5 games over a 2-day period starting Friday at 4 o'clock. A ton of work has gone into this process. I want to thank Dr. Zener, Mr. Hernandez for their support, as well as Vince Madsen and his crew for the amazing work they've done getting our stadium ready for this huge event. We look forward to some exciting football this weekend. Our Dual Language Academy team is at Ladera Vista tonight for their quarterly dual language meeting with parents and students. This marks our 3rd event with Ladera Vista, and we are excited to continue working with these students in the 25-26 school year. We deeply appreciate the district's ongoing support and guidance over the past year as we prepare to launch this new academy next year. Last month, we held our first meeting of the Fullerton Garden Guild, which is a group of dedicated teachers focused on the beautification of plants across campus. We had the pleasure of bringing in over 20 teachers, and together we replanted more than 50 plants in the front area of the campus. This was the first of 4 meetings scheduled for this year. A special thanks to Raul Cervantes and his team for their invaluable support. I will leave the details of our fall athletic success to Athletic Director Joe Aluvas, who's here tonight to present 2 of our amazing teams. And this concludes the Fullerton Union High School report for the month of December. Happy holidays, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caffrey. Dr. Jang.
Okay, thank you, principals. Let's move on to the timely information from the board and superintendent. Are there any information that the board members would like to share? Seeing none, does the superintendent have anything to share? Let's move on to updates. At this time, we will hear from our employee associations. I would like to invite FSTO President Angie Sinkak to the podium to give an update.
Good evening, President Jang, trustees, and Dr. McLaughlin. I seriously need to get way more organized, not have meetings before this one. Thank you, and we have so much to talk about tonight. First off, I'd like to congratulate our 2 new site reps. Patty Stack at Troy High School and Jeremiah Mauricio at La Vista High School will now be representing FSTO at their respective sites. There were openings earlier this year, and we had elections in October that placed them in those positions. Last month, we had 2 of our members attend the LGBTQ conference in San Francisco. Andrea Eisenman and Joe Romero from Troy High School both attended, and we're just amazed to see how much work is being done within CTA and even NEA to help our LGBTQ students in their quest to be more noticed and more understood throughout this process. The ILC team met yesterday, and there are 6 of us who are working on the collaboration model. We are hoping to continue with Ed Services regarding concerns and how to improve teacher involvement in the collaboration participation program model. We will survey our collaboration participants in January to get feedback and some more constructive criticism to help us move forward with this process. We will also continue working with our special ed committee in FSTO to see how we can help further this process in our classrooms. We are excited to know that our teachers are very much in favor of this model. We just have a little bit more work to do. Early 2025 will bring a lot of CTA conferences to our attention. The CTA Issues Conference will take place January 17th through 19th in Las Vegas. It's a fun one. Valerie Dean, our FSTO treasurer, will once again work as a host for the conference along with other CTA members. CTA State Council of Education will be held January 24th through 26th. Amanda Gieser and I will report any and all updates at our February meeting. The CTA New Educator Weekend South Conference will take place February 21st through 23rd. Principals, please help us in encouraging our newest educators, those with less than 3 years' experience in the classroom, to attend this really important conference. FSTO's New Educator Mentor Program grant will help pay for our newest hires to go to the conference as they learn new ideas and develop skills that are needed to be successful in the classroom as early as Monday when they return from the conference. Speaking of the New Educator Mentor Program, our fall semester work is coming to an end. I will attend the December lunch meeting tomorrow at Sonora High School and will be at La Vista and La Sierra High Schools on Friday to meet with those new members. I look forward to continuing the work we've been doing in our mentor program this coming spring, and I would like to thank our mentors for providing leadership and friendship to our newest certificated FSTO members. Congratulations go out to Jamie Rojas, biology teacher at Fullerton High School. She is the newest recipient of a $5,000 grant from the National Education Association to further the Student Zen Garden that they have been working on for about 1.5 years now. We were just told on Friday that the grant will help pay for the furniture that they are needing to for the Zen Garden, and I cannot wait to see the final product. So congratulations to Fullerton High School. And lastly, happy holidays and our best wishes for an amazing 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, President Sinkak. Let's move on to CSEA. Executive Assistant Deanna Azagura will give a CSEA update on behalf of CSEA President Joni Best.
On behalf of CSEA President Joni Best, good evening, Dr. McLaughlin, President Jang, members of the board. I am expressing my sincere appreciation for the district's consideration to participate in the Classified School Employees Summer Assistant Program again this next year. This is an exciting savings opportunity for classified staff, which is met with a lot of enthusiasm and appreciation. I would also like to thank the district for agreeing to participate in the 28th Annual Para-Educator Conference, which will be held March 11th through the 13th at the Ontario Convention Center. This conference provides para-educators and all classified staff with the opportunity to improve their knowledge, learn the latest in education trends, and network with other para-educators from around the state. It is known statewide by classified staff and school district administrators as a premier educational and professional development opportunity for para-educators. Information was shared with CSEA members last week, and several have already requested to attend. I have an update regarding the CSEA Chapter 82 Executive Board. In October and November, nominations for CSEA officers are up for elections. First VP, Secretary, and Communications Officer. If officers go unopposed, a vote from members is not required per the chapter bylaws, and the officers are automatically in office. With that being said, all nominees ran unopposed, and the Classified Executive Board for 2025 is as follows. President Joni Best. First VP, Charlene Rodriguez. Second VP, vacant. Secretary, Candace Rodriguez. Communications, Jonathan Stevens. Treasurer, Maria Devine. Since the office of the second VP will be vacated by Charlene Rodriguez, who is currently first VP, nominations will need to be taken in January to fill this position. I would like to thank Dr. McLaughlin for meeting with me and Joanne monthly and listening to our CSEA concerns and working together to find resolutions. I also want to thank Dr. Atkinson and Mark Miller for working with me and Joanne to resolve concerns that have been brought to our attention by CSEA members. As always, CSEA's vision is to continue to develop a strong, positive relationship with the district, and we look forward to continuing the relationship through the monthly meetings with Dr. McLaughlin and Dr. Atkinson. Lastly, I would like to wish all of you a happy, healthy holiday on behalf of CSEA. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanna and Joni. Let's go ahead and let's hear from our parent-teacher associations. I would like to invite La Habra Council PTA to the podium to give an update.
Hello, everybody. President Jang, Dr. McLaughlin, and board members. The main thing I wanted to remind everybody about is the Graduating High School Senior Scholarship that is available through California State PTA. It's on, if you go to their website, it's capta.org, and just follow the directions. All the information is there, including descriptions of the scholarships. There are two. There's one for $500 and the other for $1,000. And the requirements and documents needed, all of the information is there. And let's see, I think, sorry, I thought I had the date on here. Okay, the portal opened for scholarships on September 15th, and it'll close on February 1st of 2025. So your students still have plenty of time to go on there and look at those. So principals, please make sure that that information, it's good for everybody. I know I represent La Habra Council of PTAs, but it's good for all of the high schools, for the graduating high school seniors. And encourage your students and families to purchase a PTA membership, and for all of the parents here. I know not a whole lot is done with PTA at the high school level because you have a lot of like the boosters and the different clubs and stuff. But when you do purchase a membership, it helps to fund these scholarships that are offered through PTA. So it's still really important, and PTA still does need everyone's support for that. So thank you. And then I just wanted to real quickly acknowledge some of the La Habra High School students that are here to fulfill a requirement for their government class, do their civic portion. So if you guys want to stand up and say hello, stand up, get up. So.
Let us know if you need signatures.
Yeah, they
Usually
do.
you do.
Yes, they do. I already warned Mr. Garcia that they'll be over there to get signatures. So thank you for having me, and I hope you all, everybody, hope you all have a safe and happy holiday and a well-deserved break for everybody. So thank you.
Thank you. I would like to invite Fullerton Council PTA to the podium to give an update.
Good evening, Dr. McLaughlin, President Jang, and members of the board. My name is Nivi Jawar, and I continue to have the pleasure of serving as the Executive Vice President of Fullerton Council PTA. As we are heading into our much-needed and very much appreciated winter holiday break, we at Fullerton Council and our individual units are in the thick of holiday philanthropy and celebrations. I know many of you principals have enjoyed Thanksgiving or will be enjoying holiday meals, treats, and celebrations provided by your PTSAs and parents as our way to say thank you for all you do for our students. We at Council echo these sentiments and would like to extend them to those of you here on our high school board. Please know that we are truly grateful for each and every one of you and your tireless efforts to support our students, their education, and activities. Even though we are currently in December, also know that our unit membership campaigns are still going strong at each of our school sites. As of today at Council, we have a total of 4,180 members. We continue to encourage all of our teachers, district, and unit staff and admin to join their local unit, or as I said in the past, multiple units. We would love to see our numbers continue to climb. Every membership dollar makes a difference and allows us to do good things on our campuses. And hey, nothing says happy holidays like a PTA membership. And just a reminder that at the high school level, students can and should have their own PTA membership. Think stocking stuffers, Hanukkah gifts, holiday gifts, etc. As mentioned in our previous reports, our Arts Reflections program took place with students submitting their original works of art, dance, music, film, literature, and photography to their school sites. Some winning entries moved up to the council level. Bless you. Since I promised to keep you apprised of any updates, 6 high school entries have moved on up to the next level, which is 4th District, where they will be judged and can potentially move up the chain to the state level. I will update you next year if any of our students continue upwards. Individual PTSA units have been working hard to support our local Pathways of Hope program. Each unit has been gathering food, toys, gifts, gift cards, and money to donate to our local collection center. This is the last week of the program, and so far it has been incredibly successful. About 300 families have been served so far, with another 100 or so scheduled for tomorrow alone. This program is so awesome and really makes a difference for our local families who are in need this holiday season. And thank you to all of you who have donated. Lastly, I do want to remind everyone that our high school seniors should join their local PTSA unit by December 31st. This will allow them to be eligible for various scholarships, including our Council PTA scholarship that we awarded our April luncheon. In addition, some individual school PTAs also offer scholarship opportunities, and as mentioned before, so do our state level. They all require a membership in their local PTA unit. So again, please stress to our high school seniors that they need to join by December 31st. We ask that you please help us continue to spread the word so that we at PTSA can award some deserving seniors some much needed money. A reminder that our council meetings are held in this very room the 4th Tuesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. Our next meeting is actually next year on January 21st, 2025. And remember, you can find all of our meeting dates on our website, www.fullertoncouncilpta.org. Feel free to reach out to us at any time at fullertoncouncilptainfo@gmail.com. We're always happy to hear from you. And please enjoy this much anticipated holiday break with your cherished ones. See you all in 2025. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. We're going to move on to commendations and recognitions. I would like to invite Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Services, Dr. Carl Zener, to the podium to introduce our honorees and lead the recognitions.
Thank you, President Jang, members of the board, and Dr. McLaughlin. This month, we proudly celebrate our fall athletic teams who achieved remarkable milestones by reaching the CIF finals and/or state qualifiers. This year, we also made history with our inaugural season of girls flag football with 2 of our schools who truly shined, and you will meet them soon. To begin our recognitions, I would like to introduce our Fullerton Union High School Athletic Director, Mr. Joe Olivas.
Thank you. Can I have our flag football team join me up here right now, please? I want to thank you, Dr. McLaughlin, board members, for your support of our flag football team, not only for Fullerton High School, but of all of our district. Your support has allowed us to soar immediately right out the gates. We are so proud of this group. Our head coach at the end down here with the hat on is Frank Ramirez, and he's accompanied by his assistant coach, Quentin Pounds. We also have some assistant coaches, Leon Palmazano and Alexandria Walker, that weren't able to be here tonight. Quentin Pounds is our assistant coach, our offensive coordinator. And then our athletes, our stars of the night. First up is Ava Flores, Charlotte Edwards, and Reagan Matthews. The team finished 3rd in competitive Empire League and made it all the way to the CIF Finals in Division 4, and we are super amazed and happy and thrilled for our team. Thank you all for your support of flag football. Thank you. And now can I have our cross-country team join me up here? This is our Fullerton girls cross-country team. The team finished second place in the Empire League and became the first girls team in school history to qualify for the CIF finals. Our head coach isn't able to be here tonight because he's doing the other side of this and holding the banquet, and that's Jay-Z Krozik. Tonight, our assistant head coach, Dr. Jessica Camrath, is here. Interesting thing, Dr. Camrath's family has put 2 banners on our walls in the Fullerton gym. Our stars of the night, Ella Castro. Sophia Tabal. And Olivia Wilder.
Congratulations, we meet again. Congratulations. I cannot run. I gotta learn. You just gotta work at it, huh?
All right, thank you, Mr. Olivas. And now, from Sunny Hills High School, Athletic Director, Mr. Paul Jones.
All right, good evening. Today we are recognizing our coach, Chris Garibo, for girls tennis, as well as our outstanding student athlete, Daniela Boreal. Come on up. Let's be recognized. Front and center. So Daniela has had a Hall of Fame career that students can typically only dream of. This year, Daniela was the Freeway League MVP, and she led our team to the quarterfinals of CIF, as well as a share of the Freeway League title. Then Daniela went on to CIF individuals, where she played her way into being in the CIF finals, and so she played her way into being in the finals and earned herself a spot as a finalist, and is one of the top 2 tennis players in Southern California, which is absolutely amazing. But that was just this year. Daniela has had an amazing career. In her career, she's been CIF champion twice, her freshman year and then again her junior year. She was Girls High School Tennis Player of the Year her freshman year and junior year. And as far as our CIF team, her freshman year we were CIF finalists. She was the 3-time Freeway League MVP, and she has had over 200 career wins. But it's actually not just about how an amazing tennis player she is. She's a phenomenal person. She has a huge, humble character, and she's a person of integrity. So you notice she was CIF champion her freshman and sophomore year. That's because her freshman and junior year, because her sophomore year, she chose to play doubles with her friend who was a senior. And so she definitely could have won CIF again, but instead she decided to play doubles with her really good friend who was a senior. And so they went on to be league MVP that year, which was Daniela's sophomore year. And then in doubles, they went to the CIF semifinals. So Daniela is an amazing person, and we have been extremely blessed to have her on our campus for the last 4 years, and we really appreciate her parents and the work that they have done with her, from her training schedule to just the person of character and integrity that she is, and we really appreciate them sharing her with us, because at times students who play this high of level of tennis don't really play for their high school, and she has played with us, and so I appreciate the job that Coach Garibo has done in coaching Daniela and our team and their relationship. And so with that, Daniela has accepted a full ride to play tennis at USC, so that's where she will be playing next year.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Jones. And finally, from Troy High School Athletic Director, Mr. Chris Bloom.
All right, thank you, Dr. McLaughlin, President Jang, members of the board. First, I would like to thank the district and school administrations, the board members and the superintendent for your support in starting girls flag football. The athletic directors presented a plan, you trusted and supported the plan, gave the athletic directors autonomy moving forward. As a result, the Fullerton Joint Union High School District flag football teams ended the fall season with teams that made it to the second round of La Habra, to the quarterfinals in Sonora, a CIF finalist in Fullerton, and a CIF champion in Troy. So parents and players alike are extremely grateful for your support. I am proud to introduce 3 of our players from the Division III champion girls flag football team, Mia LaRosa, Addie Wink, and Kennedy Spurgeon. Because we were the first game that day, that Saturday, Troy will forever be known as the first ever CIF Southern Section girls flag football champion. The team, for those of you who have not heard, the team was down 20 points with 3 minutes left in the game. They scored a touchdown with no time left to tie the game and won the game on a final play. Addie Wink to Mila Rosa in the end zone that sealed the deal against San Clemente High School. Arguably, according to my principal, Dr. Minster, one of the best games of the season in any sport you watched. Kennedy Spurgeon, she played an integral role on the offensive side as our running back. Addie Wink ran the offense as our quarterback, and Mia LaRosa, who played both safety and wide receiver, who also made the game-winning catch thrown by Miss Addie Wink. Mia was named the North Hills League MVP. They were all first-team All-League selections, and more importantly, these young ladies are tremendously talented and represent both Troy High School and the district well in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, your 3 of your Division III girls CIF flag football champions. Yes. Let's hear it for Troy flag football CF champs.
Thank you, President Jang. That concludes our recognitions. Let's hear one more round of applause for all of our outstanding student athletes.
Thank you.
Okay, do board members have any comments they would like to share? Does the superintendent have any comments? Okay, let's do a recess for 5 minutes. the meeting will reconvene to the regular meeting. At this time, we will call for public comments for items that are not listed on the agenda. Individuals who filled out a speaker request form will be invited to the podium when their name is read. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person and 30 minutes per topic. And we have, Mr. Cardenas.
President Jang, members of the board, Superintendent McLaughlin, I'm going to speak really fast so I can jam through as many of these as I can. Is there a regular board meeting next Tuesday, December 17th? That's a question. Dr. Jang, how is it you were seated in 2028 on the board when you actually lost the election? I brought some photos of dangerous situations at ag sites, including but not limited to a student, I blacked out his face, performing repairs at the ag farm at Sunny Hills, bees at Fullerton, unsafe conditions at some of the other farms. So these are here for you guys. The next thing I wanted to talk about really briefly was the credit card charges. So in 2024, the district spent over $10,000 on Disneyland tickets. They spent $4,800 at Hottinger's Meat. They spent, you spent $9,400 at the Residence Inn Berkeley, $16 on toll road violations, $965 at some place called Precision Vision Optometry, $8,500 at the Grand Sierra Resort and Hotel in Nevada, $5,300 at Alpha Omega Tours in Spokane, Washington, $2,400 at, get this, Margaritaville Resort and Hotel, Embassy Suites, Kentucky, $3,200. Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, $28,430. Wyndham Garden Hotel, $6,000. $14,000 at the JW Marriott at LA Live, and on and on and on. $5,000 on gift cards. Here's my favorite one because it's just so absurd and inappropriate. $51 at Hooters. Yes, that Hooters. $4,000 at IKEA. I'm curious who had to put that furniture together. Another $43,000 on Disneyland tickets. $8,500 on QR codes. And on and on. $416 at a gas station. It's pretty gnarly. Moving on. Mr. Atkinson's $2,000 cash advance. So initially when I came in here and brought you that, I spoke incorrectly. What actually happened, it was not a reimbursement. Dr. Atkinson got an advance for $2,000, and here's what he spent it on. He went down to Costco and he bought a television, a Ring doorbell, gift cards at Taps Brewery, Bose and Sony speakers, and several other purchases totaling $1,500. No one knows where that stuff is. Then he used $300 of it for a cash box that he only returned $21 to the district. He also purchased this one's gnarly. He went to, at 10 o'clock at night, he went to Heroes Bar in Fullerton and bought a $100 gift card. He also reimbursed from the foundation $3,600 to Jessica Fernandez, an agriculture teacher, for a whole bunch of stuff. That's in here, an itemized list of it. I'm not going to be able to get through all of these, but I did want to mention that in December of last year, I asked the district a question why, basically I was asking you guys, hey, why did you take this out of a specific report? Are you avoiding telegraphing to CSEA and FSTO about possible layoffs? So I guess that's my time. I'm going to leave all this stuff for you. And here's my employment jacket as promised. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your thoughtful comments. Non-agenda items may not be acted on during the meeting nor discussed by the board. If you would like further information, please contact us through the district website or contact staff members who will be happy to talk to you and follow up with the information. We're going to move on to reports. There is no 10.1 general, no items. Let's go on to 10.2. There is a public comment card. Mr. Cardenas.
Mr. Cardenas, as you approach the podium, just as a reminder, public comment cards on action items are specific to those actions. In past, you've kind of gotten off topic, so I'm just going to ask preemptively that you stay on topic this
Understood. I've been known to digress. My only question is this. How does one review the information on the proposed basic textbooks that is presently available in Education and Assessment Services Division if, for example, they utilize a wheelchair, forearm crutches, or simply cannot climb the stairs to Ed Services? How does one go up there to order or to review any of this stuff? I'm just curious because it doesn't seem like that's conducive to going up to review this textbook list if you can't get up there? And there is no elevator, so that's my question.
Okay, I would like to call on Assistant Superintendent of Education and Assessment Services, Dr. Sylvia Coffin, to present the new basic textbook list revisions for 2025-2026 Addendum 1. This is first reading only and non-action item.
Thank you, President Jang, members of the board. This evening for first reading and information. The textbooks on the attached list are proposed for addition to the basic textbook list effective for the 25-26 school year. The child development textbooks have been reviewed by teachers and submitted to department leaders for evaluation. The members of the appropriate curriculum committees and administrative council have completed evaluation forms indicating that the books have been properly reviewed. Information on the proposed basic textbooks are presently available in Education and Assessment Services Division for review by any interested persons. The textbooks will be recommended for adoption at the January 14, 2025 board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kaufman. We're going to move on to 10.3, Human Resources, and we have a public comment card. Mr. Cardenas.
Members of the board, President Jang, Superintendent McLaughlin, I promise to stay on topic. I really only have a couple of questions. My first question is, why now? Why are we doing this now? The second is, why wasn't the position flown? Because this is the second leadership position now that the district has not flown, the other being the principal of Fullerton Union High School. Again, I just don't understand why you're not taking the time to recruit someone. I'm sure Mr. Miller's fantastic. I don't know him. I'm sure he's a lovely person. But let's leave our options open. I'm sure there are other people who may also be qualified, and you may want to speak to them too. So entering into a contract for employment that doesn't begin until July 1st of 2025 just makes little to no sense to me. I don't think there is a shortage of qualified assistant superintendents. You might even find one that's female. I know that's kind of controversial here. But yeah, they exist. I'd encourage the board to go look for some. But again, why now? Why now?
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead. I would like to call on Superintendent Dr. McLaughlin to share some information regarding this item.
Thank you, President Jang, members of the board, and the community. We have the opportunity tonight down in the consent item to accept the retirement of our dear friend, Dr. Ed Atkinson. And so with that pending retirement, and Dr. Atkinson, we have time. He's going to be with us through June, so we will celebrate him and share a little bit more. But Dr. Atkinson started his career here as a student and then became a teacher, administrator, and has served diligently for the last 15 years as assistant superintendent. And I've had the pleasure for the last 4 years to spend time with Ed, and he's an exceptional human. Despite what may be said and heard, Ed is a tireless worker. He's dedicated to this district. He spends hours, weekends, nights thinking about all of us. And so later on, you'll have the opportunity to accept that retirement in consent, which allows us the opportunity then to think about a replacement. And we have somebody here as our director of HR, and Mr. Miller, who has served in a variety of capacities in his career. Started as a painter while he was in college and worked in CSEA. Became a special education teacher, a coach, athletic director. Served as the principal of an alternative ed high school in Irvine, as well as the assistant superintendent of special ed and deputy superintendent in San Diego. So his resume is well defined. He's spent the last 2 years on a very intensive job interview. And I can tell you and vouch, as this is my recommendation to the board, that he is a stellar candidate. And we wouldn't find anyone else out there that is ready for this job and supporting this transition. And when we think about organizational health, the best thing we can do is give people vision of what's coming. And so with Ed's retirement tonight, and again, Ed, we're going to celebrate you as you leave, but for a smooth transition to have Mr. Miller take over is why the recommendation. We will go forward with a full process and recruitment for the director of HR sometime in the spring. And then also on the consent calendar is an interim manager of HR. Our manager of HR, Melinda Rodriguez, has accepted a position and started in La Habra City, not school district, La Habra City. And so with all of that, we felt it necessary to bring forth Mr. Miller for tonight. And so Mr. Atkinson, or Dr. Atkinson, will stay in his capacity through June 30th, and then right the day after, which is, I believe is a Tuesday, Ed's counting, Tuesday, July 1st, Mr. Miller will start in that formal capacity, but he'll be working with us as we get into the spring semester with our hiring, with our negotiations, and all that is HR. And so with that, I do recommend Mr. Miller as an appointment to the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources effective July 1st, 2025.
Okay. Let's go ahead and let me read the following for the 10.3.1, the new contract for the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. Agenda item 10.3.1 is the proposed contract for the appointment of Mr. Mark Miller as Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources effective July 1st, 2025. The specifics include in the contract for the new position are part of the agenda backup material, which was posted with the agenda on Friday, December 6, 2024. Prior to the vote on the contract, I will read a statement required by law. Effective January 1st, 2017, pursuant to Government Code Section 54953, Subdivision C3, before taking final action on an employment agreement for a local agency executive or a salary or benefit increase for a current local agency executive, the board must provide an oral summary of the salary and or fringe benefits for the local agency executives. Local agency executive is defined by Government Code Section 3511.1, Subdivision D1 through 3 as the Chief Executive Officer, a Deputy Chief Executive Officer, or an Assistant Chief Executive Officer of the local agency. In our district, we consider the superintendent, assistant superintendents, and any other administrators and managers who are department heads and or employed by the district by the individual contract. Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, the term of the contract between the district and the Assistant Superintendent of the Human Resources shall commence on July 1st, 2025 and end on June 30th, 2028. The Assistant Superintendent shall be paid according to the Cabinet salary schedule adopted by the Board of Trustees and posted on the district website, including the base annual salary of $242,825.44. Additionally, the Assistant Superintendent's compensation shall include the same compensation as other Assistant Superintendents, including a communication stipend, the ability to buy back up to 10 unused vacation days annually, and recognition of outside years of service for management longevity. Is there a motion to approve the new contract for the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources?
Second.
Any discussion? This will be a roll call. Ms. Osgura, will you call for the vote, please?
Mrs. Foley?
Aye.
Mrs. Klatzker? Aye. Mrs. Bucci? Dr. Calhoun?
Aye.
Dr. Jeng?
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations to Mr. Miller. We would like to call him to the podium to say a few words.
Good evening, President Jang, members of the board, and Superintendent McLaughlin. I want to first begin by expressing my deepest gratitude to Dr. Atkinson for his many years of dedicated service to this district. I'm deeply honored and humbled to accept this incredible opportunity to serve our district as the next Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. The Human Resources Department is truly the heartbeat of this organization, and I'm committed to fostering connections that both appreciate and support our remarkable employees.
I look forward to continuing to collaborate with FSTO President Angie Sinkak and her certificated team, CSEA President Joni Best and her classified team, as well as our district and site leaders. Together, we will lead with positivity and a commitment to exemplary customer service, always recognizing the invaluable contributions of our employees and fostering a culture of gratitude and celebration. Our employees are the foundation of this district, and I am dedicated to ensuring they feel supported, valued, and appreciated. Thank you once again for this privilege to lead in this incredible district, and together we will continue to engage minds, unite communities, and build futures. I'm truly excited to move forward collaboratively with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller, and congratulations. Let's move on to 10.4 business services, and there is a public comment card for 10.4.1. Mr. Cardenas. Okay, thank you. I would like to call on Assistant Superintendent of Business Resources, Ruben Hernandez, to present the first interim report.
Thank you, and good evening, President Jang, members of the board, Dr. McLaughlin. Tonight, we're here to give the board an update to the 24-25 first interim budget. Tonight's expected outcomes is to have a better understanding of our budget cycle, the purpose of our first interim report, the current financial standing of the district, to review our ending beginning fund balances, also to discuss the federal and state one-time dollars, and then considerations as we continue to move forward in the budget year, as well as the preparation for the upcoming budget as well. And we'll also discuss next steps. And so just for a kind of a foundation for how we navigate as a district in regards to budget and our financial status. And so we're very conservative in our approach and how we navigate our process. And so for the past 2 years, and this is the last year of that 3-year agreement that we have with both of our labor partners, we have been able to lay the foundation for how we navigate our budget with having that predictability in our collective bargaining agreements that allows us to budget a lot more accurately. However, the CBAs are coming to its conclusion June 30th of 2025, and so we look forward to working with our labor partners on the upcoming negotiation cycle. And we're hoping to get together in the springtime to discuss what that looks like, so we can again start that process in our budgeting assumptions and laying that foundation to accurately project what those financials are for us. And so and in this process of coming out of COVID, we've had lots of one-time dollars come our way from the federal side of the house and the state side of the house. We've been able to identify those dollars appropriately and manage those one-time dollars for the benefit of staff and students, and we continue to do so and are on track to spend those dollars down appropriately. And then as we were here at our last board meeting, the board took action on Resolution 12 and 13, which allows the district to offer an early retirement incentive to all employees. So that's also another mechanism for us to be able to identify our financial status and navigate those financial waters ahead of us. And so with that, our healthy ending fund balances and our healthy reserves, because of our conservative approach, has allowed us to navigate the early retirement incentive with one-time dollars to pay those up front. And again, another conservative approach in managing that aspect as well. And because of that, it puts us in a situation where we're more predictable in our budget, more flexible, especially when the state is struggling through financial hardship. So that's not the case currently, but when that does happen, we are in a situation that allows us to navigate that. And so here's the budget reporting cycle, and we're currently here today discussing the first interim report to the 24-25 school year. The next check-in moment that's really important for us as we start to develop and have conversations around the 25-26 budget planning process is the governor's proposed budget, which will be taking place in January. And we have a team of administrators headed to that event, as well as our labor partners as well attending that event too. And then our next time we'll be back with the board will be for our second interim update, and that will be in March. And so the purpose of the first interim report is a requirement due to Assembly Bill 1200. It requires us to update the board on the status of the budget from when it was once adopted back in June, And in this report, it really identifies the projected budget, and it takes a look at our actual revenue and actual expenditures from July 1 through October 31st, 2024. It also contains changes since the adoption of the budget back in June. And it also has its entirety of all funds associated with the school district's accounting. And then in the interim report also requires us to project what the 2 out years would look like. And so the multi-year projections will include the current year and the two out years, which is the 25-26 school year and the 26-27. And in those years, there includes assumptions and things of that nature. So getting back to the 3-year agreement that we have with our CBAs that allowed us to appropriately, accurately project those out years. Now we are at a situation where that information does not exist. And so getting back to the table to negotiate will help us in that process as well. So tonight, we'll put forth to the board the first interim to be certified by the board. Once that is certified by the board, we will send that off to Orange County Department of Education for review. And then subsequently will be sent up to the California Department of Education to be finalized. And so here's what our total overall revenue looks like in our budget as of today. As you can see, and I've shown this slide before, the pie chart on off to the right represents the first row, which is our local control funding formula, and that's about $182.2 million. This represents about 78%, and it fluctuates from one year to the next depending on one-time dollars as they come in. When those one-time dollars are exhausted, the number's a little over 80 to 82%. So as the state goes, so does our budget, because that's where these dollars come from. And so that's why it's really important for us to manage the budgets appropriately and maintain the healthy reserve for us to navigate those financial hardships that happen from time to time throughout the state. Now on this slide, we take a look at the total expenditures associated with the budget for the 24-25 school year. And really the idea here is to kind of just get an idea around the total overall cost associated with operations for the 24-25 school year. As you can see, when we take a look at the salaries for certificated classified, this includes all support staff and all administration, as well as the employee benefits. Those 3 particular rows make up the majority of our budget. It fluctuates from one year to the next, anywhere from 75 to 80%. So as staffing goes, so does our budget. And so it's really important for us to have good staffing control formulas to navigate those difficult years, and it's really good for us to have staffing control formulas to navigate those good years. And so as we take a look at our budget from year to year, staffing is real critical for us as we navigate from year to year. And the rest of the items that are listed on here are operational items that fluctuate from one year to the next. Some of them are ongoing expenses. It depends on our programs, and others are one-time expenses. So those things are a little bit easier for us to navigate. They come on and off our books depending on what's necessary for our programs. And so how do we get to those numbers? This is the budget assumption process that we go through working through cabinet and working through our fiscal services team. And so the first column here we're looking at is enrollment as a first interim. And so I have last year's numbers on there for us to kind of have a basis for how we got to where we're at. So closing out the 23-24 school year, we ended with 12,826 students. In our assumptions, we typically account for a declining enrollment of about 250. But from last school year to this school year, that number came in at 195. So our declining enrollment is not as steep as we once believed it to be in our assumption process. However, for a conservative approach to how we navigate our budget, we still use 250 in the out years. And so that's how you see the number decline down to the 12,131 students. And so the next column is really how we get funded, right? And so how often our kids show up to school is how our dollars are actually received based off of this particular column right here. And so we closed out last school year at 94.53%. Our historical average has been around 96. But coming out of COVID, that number has looked a little different. So we're tracking that on a monthly basis, and our fiscal services team does that. And we are currently tracking at about 95%. So 0.5% uptick from last school year. And so because we see trends like that in our assumptions, we also show a 0.5% increase into the future years as well, with the anticipation of us getting back to what our past number was, around 96%. But as we see trends come in, we make adjustments accordingly, and we will have those conversations in cabinet as well as in our fiscal services meeting. Now, the one big change that we saw coming out of last school year into this school year is our unduplicated count. And this what, in our local control funding formula, this what triggers supplemental concentration dollars, which is another layer of funding supported through the local control funding formula. Historically, that number has always been around 55%. We had a dip in COVID and it dropped down to like 45. Coming out of COVID, our food services team, Mr. Manalo, who's actually in the audience today, they have this more than meal plan that we implemented, and coming out of COVID, we saw a different picture. Our feeder districts, we figured we were right around 60 to 61% because that's what our feeder districts are, and we were always questioning why weren't we around that number. And it's really just about collecting data. And so with our new approach to how we collect data through data confirmation, we're actually able to identify our families more appropriately, and we're actually getting funded more accurately according to the data that we're getting. And so coming out of last school year and into this school year, the data has been confirmed at 62.18%, which is about a 3.25% increase from prior school year, which even prior school year was a bigger number than we've seen historically. So with that, we feel like we're at a place where 62% is probably who we are. So we use that in the assumptions in the out year, but we'll continue to track that on a year-to-year basis as well. And then the last one is really something that comes from either the Department of Finance, or we also take a look at school services. And we also will also reference the legislative analyst office as well. But we typically compare Department of Finance and school services on these numbers here. Last school year, they adopted statutory COLA was funded at 8.22%. This year, it's been funded at 1.07%. And then in the projected out years, it has it at 2.93 and 3.08. The 2.93 is tracking right now. It's been estimated to be 2.5. It's been estimated to be a little over a tick of 3. But there's still about 4 more data points that need to come in. Around April is when they typically see that last data point coming in. So we'll keep an eye on that information as well too. And when that information comes in, our assumptions get updated as that data comes in as well. And so this is the result of our local control funding formula with all that assumption information that we have that is current. You can see that if we take a look at the bottom row where it totals up all of our funding out of the local control funding formula, we grew from the adopted budget of $180 million to $182 million, which is about a $1.3 million increase. This is all associated with that unduplicated number growing from 58% to 62%. I believe in our assumptions for the adopted budget, it was 59. So that's about a 3% increase from the adopted budget, and that's where that 1.3 million number comes from. That number will gradually grow as well in the multi-year projection because it's a 3-year rolling average, right? So when our number was 58% last year, that is part of the 3-year rolling average calculation. As we move into the multi-year projection, it becomes 62 if that's the number that actually comes in. So that 1.3 number will gradually grow in the multi-year projection as well. And so on the general fund side of total revenues, you see the LCFF revenue is 1.3 greater. On the federal revenue side, the number shows 1.6 greater. That just happens to be how we account for the ESSER dollars that rolled over into the new school year. So we're able to identify that now appropriately. And by the way, those dollars have been spent on our ESSER projects. We did a new building at Troy and a new ag building over at Sunny Hills. But those dollars have been fully expended according to the deadlines given to us. Then the last item you see on there is other local revenue. Is about 1.2 million. That happens to do with a grant that we got, CalShape grant, to help mitigate costs associated with our HVAC units, heating and air conditioning units. So we're working on that with our facilities team right now. And when we do a side-by-side comparison of our total expenditures from the adopted budget to the first interim, you'll see the number has grown by about $6 million in cost. Most of this really has to do with our 5,000s, which is services. Some of our costs from our one-time dollars from mental health services have rolled into our ongoing costs, and so we're identifying programs right now to see what makes sense for us to continue to move forward with those services and support, working with our ed services team on that. We also saw an increase in our trash and water services, so we're working on a request for proposal on that to see if we can mitigate some of that cost. And then we also saw an increase in student transportation. We're no longer the Freeway League, so we're sending kids to different locations, and a lot more transportation is required to do so. So we're accounting for those increased costs now here at the first interim, and we'll have a better, more accurate update as we get into the second interim report. The other projects that you saw, the other increase that you see on here is our what we call capital project line, and this is really our facility projects, right? So in our facilities projects, we were closing out the La Habra fencing project from as we started it last school year and closed it into the summer. We're getting ready to design the Buena Park fencing project. We're still working on the Fullerton Auditorium. We just did seating over the summer. We're working on the refurbishment of the organ, as well as audio and visual updates as well in the auditorium. So that's where some of those increases came from regarding the capital projects. Those are one-time expenses, so they'll fall off the books the following years. They won't roll over. And so when we take all that information and we take a look at it from a multi-year projection perspective, I just put the in the revenue, you could see how I referenced the COLAs that are projected in each of those years. This is total revenues, not just LCFF. This is federal, state, and others. And then same thing with the expenditure line. You see in the surplus deficit column, this is still our approach to the planned structural deficit, meaning we're spending down one-time dollars, so you see big numbers in there. And then as we get into the 26-27 school year, now we're talking about more of an ongoing cost, ongoing expenditures associated with our programs and plans. So a lot of work to do as we get ready to start working on the 25-26 budget, and what does it mean into the future for us, and how do we sustain and maintain our programs at the level that we need them. So we'll be working real closely with our Ed Services team on that as well. And so just taking a quick look at our ending fund balance at all three rows, we in our current year, we're at 77 million, and in our third year, we're at 67 million. This takes into consideration all escalation costs in the out years. It takes into consideration potential health, medical cost increases, even though it's not part of our collective bargaining agreement in 25-26. Or 26-27, we account for the cost escalation there because we know it's coming, and we need to account for it appropriately in the budget. So when we get back to the negotiation table, we'll discuss what that means as we navigate that. And so here's how it's broken down in an ending fund balance perspective. So and we'll just take a look at the current year because this is the first interim. So the ending fund balance in the current year is that 77.8 million, and it's comprised of these numbers here. Restricted is 12.6. Anything greater than the 10% minimum requirement, the board took action on a commitment to commit those dollars. That's estimated at 40.5 million. The 3% reserve is a requirement by the state, and that number is 7.3 million. And then the assigned funds is really a set aside of dollars that we are using for our home to transportation revenue that we get in LCFF. It's for a bus replacement program. And then the additional $4 million, so that's 2.9, and then the $4 million we set aside is for an estimated cost of the early retirement incentive. So it's set aside and booked in our ending fund balance to cover that cost as a rough estimate. We're not quite sure where that number is going to land, but we feel like it's going to be in that area. And then the unassigned is that 10.3, which is not a committed dollar, and it's outside of all those other areas that we discussed. And so how are those restricted dollars broken down? And so of that $12.6 million that's identified in there, $2 million belongs to our A through G grant that was board approved, and we have until June 30, 2026 to spend those dollars down. The discretionary block grant for arts, music, and discretionary was board approved as well. We have until June 30, 2026 to spend those down. That's $2.3 million. And then the arts, music, and school, which is Prop 28, we were funded at $2 million last year, and that number is a moving target from one year to the next because it's funded based off of a percentage of Prop 98. And so we are working closely with Ed Services on those dollars and a plan coming soon to spend those down. And I believe next month there's a presentation on that as well. The Learning Recovery Block Grant was another big item. Last year we spent down a good amount of that, and this year the expectation is to spend those dollars down completely as well ahead of the deadline of June 30, 2028. And so just a reminder, as we saw this on our first slide, this is the foundation for how we operate and how we do things from a perspective of a conservative approach. We'll continue to work through the future CBAs and hopefully have something in place for allow us to project in our budget process for the idea of having that healthy reserve to mitigate potential state financial struggles, right? And so those considerations are next steps for us is attending the governor's proposed budget for what it looks like for 25-26 school year. What's the financial health of the state? Keeping an eye on world conflicts, managing those one-time dollars from state and federal, submitting reports, spending those dollars down in an appropriate timely manner, monitoring those health cost escalations. And again, just a reminder, they're in our multi-year projection right now as a cost escalation. I don't think I've ever experienced one where there's never been a cost escalation in them. So we put in a projection to account for that. And then just keeping an eye on any legislative bills that come through that may have a financial impact to how we get funded as a K-12. And then what sort of impact do we see from the early retirement incentive? And so all those are future considerations as we navigate and plan for the 25-26 school year. And so for next steps, today is going to be a recommendation for the board's approval of the first interim. And next we will be again at the governor's proposed budget, and that is in January. And then we will start, based on that information, we'll start to initiate the LCAP budget process, even though there's already LCAP conversations going on. How do we connect the dollars to the LCAP is where we will start having conversations with our Ed Services team. A development of the master schedules with updated enrollment and staffing projections. Then we'll be back here with the board in March to talk about the updates to the second interim for the 24-25 budget. And then obviously continuing the LCAP budget process as we get ready for a June presentation for the board. So in submitting the 24-25 first interim report as a positive report, the Board of Trustees understands its fiduciary responsibilities to maintain fiscal solvency for the current and subsequent 2 fiscal years. And so with that, thank you from Business Services. Thank you to our Director, Rami Bashara, and thank you to Christy Navarro, our fiscal analyst, for supporting us and preparing the first interim report. That concludes my report. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Board members, any questions? Seeing none. No questions?
Yes, I really don't have any questions, except just a comment. At the Delegate Assembly, it seemed that there was some legislation that might have an impact on our budgeting process, and I'm assuming that we kind of track through one of our business associates, those kinds of things. And also, I heard that there were new changes to the LCAP. I'm sure Sylvia is aware of that. Every year we do that again, don't we? So.
Yeah, so we keep, I personally am involved in the AXA Business Council, so we are always in those meetings where new legislation is coming down and how it impacts us financially. We actually are in the room discussing how to mitigate some of the negative things that may be coming down the pike, or how we can actually help support the conversation to make it a benefit or kind of encourage the legislation to do something different. So I'm part of that process. We also have connections with consultants through Capital Advisors. We also use CSBA for these kinds of things. So through Cabinet, Dr. McLaughlin, myself, and others, we are constantly checking in on these kinds of topics that have financial impacts to us as we navigate the budget.
That we heard too that CSBA has a lawsuit against the state because of the governor's many,
They call them maneuvers, I believe,
mini
right,
maneuver,
Ruben?
yeah.
That was the maneuver,
which is
his
still
accounting maneuver. Yes, that is
right,
correct.
and
Yeah.
still calling it is not constitutional, so we'll see where that goes.
Yes.
I couldn't think of the maneuver name. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Is there a motion to approve the first interim financial report for fiscal year 2024 to 2025?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second. Oh, sorry, no, it's all right.
Any discussion? Seeing none. Noel, do you have you want to cast a preferential vote?
I approve.
Thank you. Well, do you call for the vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 5-0. We're going to move on to 10.4.2, which is an action item, and there is a public comment card.
Mr. Cardenas.
Sorry, Mr. Cardenas.
President Chang, Superintendent McLaughlin, members of the board. On December 28th, 2023, I emailed the district some questions. And those questions, for our purposes related to this item, the only one that matters is the following. It was, why was the full-time equivalent position section removed from the 2022-2023 estimated actuals report to prevent telegraphing to CSEA and FSTO any planned potential job cuts or
Mr.
position
Cardenas, is this about the
elimination.
early retirement
It is.
incentive?
If you'll bear with me, I'll get there, I
Okay.
promise. Then about 3 months after that, Superintendent McLaughlin, you wrote a letter to the community assuring us that the district was well-positioned financially and that there wouldn't be any layoffs or force reductions and that there was no significant budgetary constraints for the 2024-2025 school year. Sorry, I can't read tonight. And yet, rather astonishingly, here we are less than 12 months later after I sent that email and 9 months after you penned the letter, and the board is being asked to consider the approval of a resolution offering early retirements because, and I quote from the resolution, to minimize the effects of a potential reduction in force or of other budget reductions necessitated by changes in state funding. So I brought this up a year ago. You wrote a letter saying everything's fine, and yet here we are offering early retirement.
Do you have a comment or a
Yeah,
question about the item?
My question is, who was right, me or you? Is the district okay? Are you offering this because there is budget constraints? Which
Okay.
is it? It can't be both.
So we understand your question. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, I got about 1:12 left. My only other comment is if you are going to participate in this as an employee of the district, regardless of whether you're certificated or classified, I would encourage you to speak with a tax professional because the way that the early retirement is structured, it may have tax implications personal tax implications based on your own personal situation. So that's my only encouragement to staff. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for your comment. I would like to call on Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, Ruben Hernandez, to present the Resolution 2024-2025, number 16.
Thank you, President Jang, members of the board, Dr. McLaughlin. Last month, we were here discussing the early retirement incentive and Resolution 12 and 13, that the board took action on. And now, today, we're here to talk about next steps for the ERI. And so at last month's board presentation, this is kind of the recap of the early retirement incentive, Resolution 12 and 13. We discussed the results of the saving and why this would be important for us. We talked about the projected analysis, the projected retirements that would be possible through the requirements to retire through both of these programs, and that number came in at around 63 as an estimate. The minimum requirement we were asking for us to push forward to result in these savings was 24 certificated non-management. And then based on the analysis that was done, we were projecting about $978,000 as an estimate of savings for the first 5 years. And that gradually decreases as people move along on those salary steps. And then obviously this is presented to all employees as an optional if they found this to be something that made sense for them. Here's how we presented those options for our employees. Option number one was the 60% one-time payment. It was based on the primary pay of the employee's salary schedule. And then in this moment, it was excluding additional compensation such as longevity, stipends, additional hourly, and 6/5. And then similarly, option number two would be calculated the same way, but then an employee would be able to apply these to health benefits if that made sense for their retirement option. And then the option number three was the 2-year service credit for CalSTRS. And in that moment, we had questions around whether or not CalPERS had this as an option. We did find out right before the board meeting that we do have a contract through the county who contracts directly to CalPERS on our behalf, that option does exist. And so what we didn't know in that moment is what we needed to do to activate that. And so when we had that conversation with CalPERS, they confirmed with us that longevity for a classified member's side of the house, that their calculation for the annual retirement for them takes into consideration their step placement on the salary schedule and their longevity. There's no separate bucket of retirement compensation for them. It all gets calculated as one. And so with our resolution number 16 tonight, we'll ask the board to modify resolution number 12 that omits longevity from that calculation. And then secondarily, resolution number 16, the requirement for us to actively participate in that is to present to the board a resolution that is on tonight's board agenda as well. And so here we are with our timeline, just going back to how we got to where we are today. a lot of the work done over the summer, presenting to the board in closed session around the results of the PARS analysis, working with our labor partners. We met with them on October 28th. The board took action on Resolution 12 and 13 at the November board meeting. After that board meeting, we had about 124, 123 participants in the PERS presentation, and then subsequently the day after at the STIRS presentation. So it was well attended. People were being informed. But since then, we then found out, and is why we're here tonight, is that we do need a resolution for the board to consider to implement the 2-year service credit for CalPERS. But we've also been working real closely, business services and HR, around putting together an FAQ that went out to our employees last week. We are actually finalizing the Google form for the submission of the retirement from an individual who's interested. But from now until we lead up into winter break, we will be sending weekly updates of FAQs to help our members better understand what it means to retire and what those questions may be in that retirement option. But we're highly encouraging all of our employees to set up their one-on-one meetings with CalPERS or CalSTIRS and to speak to whoever their financial advisor may be, as every decision is different for every individual. When we get back from winter break is going to be the commitment window, and our HR team will be sending out that the Google form for whether or not an individual is interested in retiring. And then that last day will be February 7th at 4 p.m. And with that, that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Is there a motion to approve the resolution 2024-2025 number 16? Is there a second? Second? Thank you, Joanne. Yes. Yes. Any discussions? Noel, would you like to cast a preferential vote?
I approve.
And would you call for the vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 5-0. We're going to move on to 10.5, Administrative Services, and we have a public comment card. Mr. Cardenas. Thank you. Let's see. I would like to call on Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Services, Dr. Carl Zener, to present information on the new board bylaws 9124, attorney, and revised board policy 4218, dismissal, suspension, disciplinary actions.
Thank you, President Jang, members of the board, and Dr. McLaughlin. A regular review of district board policies is essential to ensure compliance with updates in education code, changes in district personnel and position titles, adjustments in duties due to reorganization, and requirements imposed by state and federal agencies. To maintain alignment with these changes, the district seeks to adopt the following policies as recommended by the California School Boards Association and refined with staff input. This evening, we are presenting 2 items for second reading and adoption. New Board Bylaw 9124 Attorney. This is a newly proposed board bylaw that has not previously existed in the district. It is recommended for adoption to address current needs and best practices. And revised board policy 4218, dismissal, suspension, disciplinary action. This policy has been thoroughly reviewed and updated by the Human Resources Division to reflect the most current standards and practices. Staff is available tonight to address any questions or provide further clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zener. Do board members have any questions? Seeing none. Is there a motion to approve the new board bylaw 9124 attorney?
Move approval.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Seeing none. Noel, would you like to cast a preferential vote?
I approve.
We'll move on to call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passes 5-0. Is there a motion to approve the revised board policy 4218, dismissal, suspension, disciplinary action?
Move approval.
Second. Any discussion? No. Noel would like to cast a preferential vote.
I approve.
Thank you. Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 5-0. And we're going to move. We're going to move on to 10.5.2, communications. I would like to call on an Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Services, Dr. Zener, to give us a communication update. This is for information only and is a non-action item.
Thank you again, President Jang, members of the board, and Dr. McLaughlin. Our December newsletter went out December 2nd with our 24-25 theme, Uniting Communities, Engaging Minds, and Building Futures. We highlighted our 2025 Orange County Department of Education Teachers of the Year, Amanda Klaus from Buena Park High School and Aaron Reichenberg from La Habra High School. We also introduced our newest video, which will be seen shortly. In addition, we thanked our community for their support in the passing of Measure L. In social media, we are thrilled to celebrate our continued growth and engagement over the past year. Our Instagram followers have increased by an impressive 28%, and we're excited to keep the momentum going. Currently, we're gearing up for an important open enrollment campaign, which will be running from January 13th to January 31st. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay updated and catch all the important information coming up. History is in the making, as you heard from Mr. Caffrey. For the first time ever, Fullerton Joint Union High School District is proud to host the state football championships in the Fullerton District Stadium on December 13th and 14th. Join us to cheer on the incredible talent hitting the field and celebrate this monumental event with 2 games Friday and 3 games on Saturday. And winter season is here. The winter athletics season kicked off in November, runs through March. Our student athletes are competing in multiple sports. Come support our teams and follow along for highlights and updates. In activities, schools are embracing the holiday spirit, with many hosting toy, food drives to give back to their communities. La Habra High School was proudly featured in the Orange County Department of Ed newsroom for its participation in Operation Christmas Child, where they provided beautifully wrapped shoeboxes filled with gifts. And looking ahead, activities directors have already begun planning the next impactful community service project for 2025. And now we are excited to show our newest 24-25 theme video, Uniting Communities, Engaging Minds, and Building Futures. Enjoy.
This isn't just about this moment, it's about the next moments and the next moments. It's how one moment connects to the next and the next to the next. So in order to do that, we mix you up a lot because we need to build those relationships. We're gonna focus on kids. All kids, all means all. Not some, not those, not them, not yours, not mine, but all of our kids.
In community partnerships, we're noting that our partnerships are at a different level. We just don't send our students to community resources, social services, to people we don't know. So when we look around the room to see different organizations, it's not just their namesake that they're representing, or their title of their company, or their positions. It's the people who run it behind the scenes. That's where the trust is. That's where the relationships are.
It starts off with us in the elementary, and then as we begin to build that powerful collaboration and connection with the students and our families, we are able to hand off to the Fullerton High School District the ability for them to take them to a higher level.
If we don't engage the minds of our kids by about 6th grade, through band, choir, music, engineering, robotics, ag, then they become a rescue mission in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So partnering with a high school district is huge because we're able to work with them, their high school students, their teachers, so that we grab those minds before they leave 6th grade.
We are one of the very few districts in Orange County that actually have a healthy budget, dedicated staff and employees and teachers. You are the ones that we count on to make our district successful and special.
We're fiscally prudent. When we spend $1 in this district, we're looking for an outcome that is higher or faster or better in improving student learning. We optimize our resources, and for decades, we've done that in this district.
High school is the last time that we have an opportunity as a public, community-based institution to really have access to every single student. We want to make sure that all of our facilities are beautiful and modern and accessible to all of our students.
I think when you drive by our schools, I think they're beautiful. We are always very proud of them. The schools provide the educators that we need for the students to be successful. We have to have programs that are forward-thinking. You know, education has changed over years and continues to change.
Now we have esports, we have robotics, we have all these things. All your little arrows are going to be speed boosts. We prepare students with skills and knowledge that allow them to have the flexibility to build on their future.
Class of 24, you did it.
This has been a long time coming. Graduation is not a 4-year endeavor, and that's exciting that we play this huge role in the transition to the rest of the students' lives.
Fullerton Joint Union High School wishes everyone happy holidays and a wonderful winter break. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Zener. Do board members have any questions or would they like to share a comment? Seeing none, we're going to move on to consent calendar, and we do have a public comment card. Mr. Cardenas?
Thank you, President Jang. I put the entirety of the consent calendar, but I'm not actually going to go through all of it. So that's the good news. 11.1.1 combined annual and 5-year developer fee report. So I have a few questions. The first is, why is the developer fee report in the consent calendar instead of the reports portion of the agenda? In 2021, it was in the report section, but then in 2022 and 2023, it was moved to the consent calendar. In years prior to 2021, the report was always accompanied by a presentation, a slide deck. Why is that no longer the case? Why isn't the report, this year's report, dated? The 2021-2022 report is dated. That date was September 27th, 2021, so not December. However, the 2022, 2023, and 2023-2024 reports are not dated, which is strange. And why is the report titled Annual and 5-Year Report for Fiscal Year 23-24? In 2021 and in prior years, it was always titled Combined Annual and 5-Year Developer Fee Report. However, in 2022-2023, 2023-2024, the reports are now titled Annual and 5-Year Report for Fiscal Year, and then the fiscal year. It just seems off to me. Anyway, 11.1.3, the lease agreement. I'm confused. Is there any ed code, and perhaps someone here knows, that governs the lease of surplus district facilities? So for example, must the district first offer the office space to another public agency? 11.1.4, not even gonna touch that one. I'll skip it. 11.1.5, does the district really need to hire an architect for a fence project? Just curious. 11.1.10, are the RFQs and RFPs related to Measure L? If so, is the district perhaps getting a little ahead of itself, given the district has not presented its 23-24 annual audit and financial statements? That has to go into the OS. So, yeah. 11.1.12, skip it. 11.1.13, perhaps I read the item incorrectly, but is this a not to exceed contract for $1.6 million for program application services? It just struck me as a lot of money. 11.1.14, is this item related to the addition of gasoline and E85 sales at the district CNG station? Was the intent of building that CNG station to sell gasoline and E85? And will the sale of gas and E85 create unrelated taxable income liability? I suspect it will. CUPCCA, just so you guys know, Kane Builders, who's in there, they donated $5,000 to Yes on Measure L. That $5,000 is paying off. And then I'll skip the school bus one because I'm almost out of time. I guess that's it. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Is there a, are there any items that board members would like to pull from the consent calendar? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any discussions? Seeing none, Nora, would you like to cast a preferential vote?
I approve.
Thank you. Would you call for a vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 5-0. And we're going to move on to board member and the superintendent comments. Are there any comments from the board?
I waited till the right time this time. Want to wish everyone a very happy holiday season and beginning of the new year. While we'll be together next week for our organizational meeting, many of you will not be. So I wanted to make sure and take this opportunity. And I hope you have a very refreshing winter break and come back ready to hit the ground running for second semester. Thanks for all that you do.
Happy holidays, you guys. I know it's been an awesome year for each and every one of you, but it's time for some well-deserved rest, and so make sure you do that and enjoy your families.
Now, since this is my last full meeting as the president of the board, I want to take this opportunity to thank the site administrators, all of our teachers, all of our employees, and the district administrators, as all of the employees, because this has been a very special year. It went by a lot faster than I thought it would. Definitely was very busy, and I think Dr. McLaughlin got to spend a lot more time with me than he really wanted to. On the average, we were probably spending about, I would say, 7 to 10 hours per week, and it got to a point that I don't really like hearing from him, and I'm pretty sure he didn't like hearing from me too.
Always love hearing from you.
But it also allowed me the opportunity to know this district even more. When you sit over there as a board member, you don't really know what goes on in the district until you get the opportunity to hear from every department, the employees, the teachers, and that's how you really learn as a kind of a professional growth. And this year was definitely a memorable one, and it's one that I would definitely enjoy doing again. No, not that I'm volunteering, but definitely it's a professional growth. So thank you so much for this past year of experience that this district has given to me. Thank you. Okay, and
Can I just say something really quickly? So I'd like to thank Chester for his year of leadership and everything, and I know he enjoyed the gavel as much as I did, and so we have that bond now. But I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all of our certificated and classified staff, all of our admin teams at all of our sites and at the district. Wish you guys a happy holiday season, whatever it is you celebrate, and just thank you for the work that you do, not only as a board member, but I get to see it also as a parent. And I truly appreciate it from both perspectives, and just from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys to everyone for everything that you do to make the schools a wonderful place for our kids.
Thank you. Okay, so the meeting's adjourned.